You're watching another great interview on Audio Inc. Radio.
Hi, this is Ian Hill from Judas Priest, and you're listening to Audio Link Radio with Anne Erickson.
What's up? It's Ann Erickson with Audio Inc. Radio, and I'm honored to be here with the great Ian Hill of Judas Priest. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Pleasure to be here.
It is a busy time for you. So you guys, of course, out on the road a lot. How is the tour going?
It's going great. Yeah, he's loving it. It's a great bill, you know, us and Alice. It's a great bill, great show, great bunch of guys as well, you know. So we're loving it at the moment.
How is it different touring now versus decades ago when you guys were first starting out and getting famous?
There's less aches and pains in the early days. Well, we try to keep it the same, you know. We just go out there and give 100% every night. And that's what we've always done, and we're still doing that now, you know. So it's for other people to judge whether we're still doing it as well as we did all those years ago.
I think the fact that the shows sell out so well, just shows that obviously you guys are still doing it as well.
Yeah, yeah. So that's always a good sign, you know. When you come out on stage and there's people there, it's a good sign.
Well, I want to talk about the War Pig single that you guys just released with Ozzy. It is for a great cause. Just tell me, how did it come about?
It came about, well, Ozzy did his farewell gig in Birmingham in the Midlands in the UK. And Sharon asked us to do that show, but we just committed to doing a show with the Scorpions in Hanover. It was their 60th anniversary, and their great promoter Ozzy Hoppy begged us to go and do it with. We pretty much just signed up to do that, you know. So we had to commit. We had to do the commitments, you know. We had to do that. We were gutted that you know, that we couldn't be there, but that's where the idea for a video came along. We thought, well, why don't we do a video and they can show it between bands or whatever, and that was the idea. War Pigs. We play War Pigs before each show. Gets people out of the bar, you know. Let's people know that we're going to be on stage in a moment, you know. So that was the obvious choice. So we put that together. Loads of fun doing that song. It's a great song, you know, and I had a lot of fun doing that. Um, and then, of course, not long after that, Ozzy passed, you know. So we there were vocals available there of Ozzy, and it was sent to us from the Osbourne people, you know. And Andy slotted it into the song that we'd recorded, and it sounds awesome. It really does. It just made it complete with Ozzy on it, you know.
It does sound amazing. Do you kind of wish that you had been able to be at that final show now, knowing that it really was Ozzy's last, even though obviously you had that big commitment with the Scorps?
Yeah, I mean, obviously with hindsight, if we knew what was going to happen, we'd have come and done that. And the thing is, the Scorpions would have understood that as well, you know. In fact, they were probably gutted that they couldn't be there as well. But yeah, hindsight's a great thing. Yeah, we didn't know that was going to happen, you know. We thought Ozzy was going to be with us for a hell of a lot longer, but wasn't to be, you know. And he sadly passed.
Were you surprised when you found out? I was surprised. I think a lot of people were, even though everyone knew he was struggling with the health issues for a long time.
Yeah, it wasn't as big a surprise as it might have been. You know, he hasn't, like you say, he was struggling for some time with Parkinson's and other ailments, you know. And like I say, he was struggling, and it was a surprise that it happened when it did. Like I say, we all thought we'd be having him with us, you know, for a lot longer than that. He might have been waiting for that moment, you know, get the last show out of the way, and then he let go. And it's why it was such a shock. He was so full of life, you know, on that show. That when it happened, you know, we were all gutted, you know, couldn't believe it, you know, when we first heard.
What do you think Ozzy has done for the metal genre?
Ozzy was a character. I mean, he was a great vocalist, a great songwriter, but I think it was his character, you know. He was Ozzy. He was a force of nature. Um, and he was always up to some mischief or another, you know, that put him in the headlines, usually for all the wrong reasons. But that was Ozzy, you know. And like I say, he was one of the music industry's great characters. And he was up there with Elvis and people like that. You know, he's one of those. people who people took notice of all the time, you know. And he's going to be greatly missed. Even in the state he was in, he was still up to mischief, you know, right up till the end there. And like I say, we're all gutted to lose him. And he's one of those people who will be missed for years to come.
I'm so glad that bands like Judas Priest are still out there making music from the classic era, still holding the torch. Do you guys think that you'll have a new record on the way at some point?
Yeah, there's plans to go back into the studio in the new year. So when it'll be released, I don't know. It's a long process. Really no rush either, really, you know. So it'll be a while, but the recording is going to happen. It looks like next year.
Awesome. Have you guys started writing it all on the road?
I know Richie has. He's got quite a few ideas together. Yeah, so we've got a head start there.
And what about touring? Do you guys plan to keep touring for a long time?
Well, that'll happen as well. Obviously, if you have an album, you have to go out and tour with it, you know. So yeah, that'll happen too.
What are your thoughts on how the music industry in general has changed from the 1980s? Because I feel like streaming, I mean, it's just totally different now.
It is. It's worrying as well because especially with AI coming through as well, it's almost as if the musicians are trying, you know, they're trying to replace the musicians now, and it's worrying. It really is. Streaming as well. It's. I mean, when we first started back in the early '70s there. Um, if you wanted to listen to music, there's only three ways you could do it. You could either go to a show, you could buy a record, or if the band was lucky, you could get to hear it on the radio. You know, that was it. But now the problem with streaming is that nobody owns anything. You're only renting that song you're listening to. So if it doesn't meet somebody's playlist one day, it might just vanish. You know. So that's one of the problems. Another problem with streaming is that you're not going to get it unless you've got an internet connection. So if you're on holiday in the middle of nowhere, you've got no music, you know. And I think this is going to sound vulgar, but I think everybody's getting used to getting it for nothing or next to nothing. And I think that's a problem. It's not so bad for bands like ourselves. We can go out on tour, you know. I mean, at one time your income came from record sales. You go on tour to promote your record, and that's where you got your money from selling records. And all your tour money went into the production. Um, and now it's the other way around. You do the record to promote your tour, you know. But for upcoming bands, I mean, the internet's great in one way because as soon as you record something, you can put it out on the internet, and it's available to anybody with a computer. That's great. The problem is having you stand out. You're in there with hundreds of thousands of other acts all doing the same, and it's making you more attractive than everybody else. And what do you do? You know, you go on and you pump in, okay, heavy metal, and who's going to come up? It's going to be ourselves. It's going to be Maiden. It's going to be Black Sabbath. It's going to be Deep Purple. You know what I mean? It's not going to be the guy that's just made his record, his pride and joy. It's not going to be them, and they're not selling anything. So they've got no income, you know, and it's worrying. It's worrying, it really is. Unless they're lucky enough to get on a tour with someone, the chances of getting on are remote these days, you know. Having said that, I mean, if you do have something to offer, if you keep at it long enough, you know, somebody's going to recognise it sooner or later and say, "Oh, yeah, it might be worth a punt on this band," you know. But it's worrying times, it really is, and I think it's going to have some kind of change. Um, I mean, the bands are getting very, very little out of airplay, you know. Very fractions of pennies per play. It's really worrying. It really is. For a musician, for everybody else, it's great. You know, you're getting your music for nothing still. You know, and I guess what? It's going to be cheaper because you haven't got to pay any musicians to do it. You're just some guy in a studio somewhere. You know, on his computer. So yeah, it's worrying though. It's worrying. I don't know where it's going to end up. I mean, for us, we're at the end of our careers, you know, and we've had a great 50 years, you know, in the game, and we've loved every minute of it. But it seems to be coming to an end, you know, that sort of thing, and it's going to be a sad day if it ever does happen. Hate to be a
No.
hate to be a doom monger, you might change, but it's the way I'm seeing things at the moment, unfortunately.
No, no, you mean that you guys are eventually one day going to retire?
Well, yeah, we know mugs, we know spring chickens either. We know it's not going to go on forever, it'll come, sooner rather than later, especially for Rob and myself. The other guys in the band, we've got at least 10 years on them, so they have a future, beyond Judas Priest, especially Richie. He's the same age as my eldest son, so he's got a lot of mileage left in him.
But it's good to know that you guys do plan to do a new record. So it's not like you guys are done now. So it's
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Tell me a little about your friendship with Rob Halford, because I feel like, you guys have obviously been friends for so long.
Oh yeah, I mean we're like brothers really. I mean I started out in 1973. I was dating his sister, um, and when Alan Atkins, our old vocalist, left, basically because his wife had a baby, and he had to go out and get a real job. Suddenly he had to go and earn money to keep his family going. So Sue, his sister, said, "Well, why don't you try Rob?" And we did, and the rest is history. We've known him since then, since 1973, and we've lived in each other's back pockets for all of those years. He went off and did his own thing for a while there in the throughout the 90s, but when he came back in 2004, we just sort of carried on where we left off, if you know what I mean. It was because we were that familiar with everyone, with him, and like I say, he's like a family member rather than a colleague or a mate.
Do you think that part of the chemistry and just, the great music that Judas Priest makes is because you guys do have that long-standing friendship?
Yeah, I think that's everything. I mean, um, everybody's got little idiosyncrasies and personality traits that are, test the patience of a saint. But when you're mates with somebody, you'll put up with that. It's only him. And that's the way it's been. So we've all tolerated each other's little things that might niggle you, and it's trivial compared to the friendship that lies underneath. And it's been the secret behind the longevity of the band, and it's still there today. And the same is now with Andy and Scott and Richie, of course. They're all like members of the family. And they've been assimilated into the Judas Priest family. So yeah, it's carried on that atmosphere, the dressing room atmosphere is so important. If you've got conflicting egos there, nothing worse than that.
Right.
And we've very rarely had that, and it's just a great atmosphere all around. We chums.
That's fantastic. How are both Richie and Glenn doing? They both had kind of health things, going on. So are they doing well health-wise?
Yeah, Richie's going from strength to strength after his scare there. I mean that could have turned out tragically different if the stars hadn't lined up for him. Glenn is about as well as anybody could possibly be, given his condition. He's still there at home, and he's still there. He's got everything between his ears. He's still Glenn. So he's still coming up with ideas and what have you. He still has a say in the direction of the band. So he's doing well as well. Unfortunately, he can't tour anymore. We're not stupid. We don't expect him to do so. But he does show up from time to time, and gets up on stage, and he'll belt out one or two of the encores. And it's great when he does. Everybody loves it, when he shows up. Yeah, so they're both doing really well. Richie especially.
Well, Ian, thank you so much. As always, it's just great chatting with you. Is there anything else that you want to add?
No, just that we're looking forward. Well, we're looking forward to playing every night. It's a bonus to get up every morning these days. But yeah, we're looking forward to it. We're loving what we're doing. And it's going to be great.
We love it. The metalheads are just want Judas Priest forever and ever. So thank you so much for still touring and making music.
Okay, Anne, it's been a pleasure.